Hi, Roger Langfus here. It is Saturday, the 25th of March, 2017, and I am here on location at Rauhala, which is my family's heritage farm here on Malcolm Island. And I'm going to take you on a site tour to show you some of our heritage sites here at Rauhala and do some species identification of some of our local trees that grow here along the coast of British Columbia. So, here we go. It's a beautiful morning here at Rauhala. It's about 11 a.m. What you're looking at there is what we call in the Finnish language Rauhalati, which means the Bay of Peace. And I'm going to take you guys through a walk towards the creek into the bay, and hopefully we'll find some cool trees. I'm at our beach campsite here at Rauhala, and I'm going to do some species identification of some of the little trees growing along our road and this big tree right behind me here. So it's got a roundish four-sided prickly needle that's bluish green. If you look at the underside, it's got a more bluish color, and the top is a dark green. It's very prickly, very rigid. So this would be a Sitka spruce. The bark of the Sitka spruce has these plate-like structures to it, so it's very scaly in plate-like formations that go up the tree. Looking at the ground here below the Sitka spruce tree, we have these long barrel-shaped cones with a feathery texture to the scales. Lodgepole pine, the needles come in pairs, so they stick out from the branches in groups of two. Each group is called a fascicle. So right here by my thumb, you can see the needles are in pairs coming out of the stem. The droopy crown is indicative of a western hemlock. Western hemlock has flat, soft, uneven lengthed needles along each stem. The eagles are going over my head. It's herring season, so they're dropping fish from the sky. Picea sitchensis, Sitka spruce. It's kind of got a four-sided needle, bluish, green needles, very spiky, very pointy. It's just a juvenile tree. Another example of a western hemlock. It's got soft, uneven or unequal length needles. So a western hemlock, Tsuga heterophylla. So this is the cone of a western hemlock. It's very small, round cone. All right, here we got some alder trees. These are red alders. You can't see it very clearly in the video here, but the tops of these alders, their buds are a reddish color in the springtime. And that's where it got its name, the red alder. And it's called Ulmus rubrans. Around at the leaf litter below the red alder tree, here's an example of both the male and the female sex organs of the red alder tree. You can see here is the male sex organ. This gives off the pollen, and the female sex organ, the cone, which contains the seeds. So the bark of the red alder is gray, smooth, with patches of white lichen right here. Up here, these little round growths that come off the bark of some alder trees, we locally here in Sointala call them alder balls, and we can knock these off and you could peel the bark off these things, and some people turn them into beads. Rauhala is a heritage farm, so I am turning a lot of the artifacts that lay astrew on the ground into outdoor museum exhibits. So this is an area I fenced off containing an old car that used to belong to my uncle. Here we've got an example of a red cedar, western red cedar. The bark comes in stringy like strips that go up vertically along the trunk of the tree. The scientific name is Thuga plicata, or the western red cedar. Here's an example of a western red cedar leaf structure. It's got flat, scale-like, overlapping leaves. Example of a Sitka spruce, you could see the rounded plate-like scales that go up in a vertical pattern along the trunk. Picea sitchensis, the Sitka spruce. So here are the budding ends of a twig of a red alder. You could kind of see the reddish bud. We're just walking up to our first field here at Rauhala. Big open heritage farm field. And in the distance there you could see our heritage house. That house was built in 1904. Got another example here of Pinus contorta, the lodgepole pine. You could see the needles are in groups of 2. The fascicles are growing 2 needles. We have a red cedar tree, and you can see the holes in the bark of the tree. That's done by a woodpecker that's looking for bugs in the tree. So this tree is infected with some sort of insect. Here we've got a heritage fruit tree at Rauhala. It's a cherry tree, and growing out of the trunk of this tree, you can see there's a Sitka spruce growing right out of the trunk. You can tell it's a Sitka spruce because it's got those round, pokey needles with a bluish green color to them. So here we've got a Sitka spruce, but it doesn't have the plate-like scaly bark yet. So it is an immature tree, but it does have these kind of oblong, oval-shaped resin blisters, and they have like a sticky sap that's inside it with a really nice piney smell. I'm about to take you guys up our Cat Road hiking trail here at Rauhala, and we're going to go up to see the giant tree, and maybe we'll find some cool stuff along the way. All right, here we go. This is a coal mining borehole. It goes down 300 meters and was put here in the early 1900s. It's part of the Suquash coal bed. There are 2 of these mine shafts or boreholes here on Malcolm Island, and this is the one that is at Rauhala. So here you can see the difference in bark on the trunks of 2 different species of trees. On this side we have the Sitka spruce, which has the plate-like scales. And then over here is a western hemlock, which kind of has deep ridged furrow-like bark structure going along the trunk of the tree. We got another difference between 2 different trees. You could see the deep furrowed vertical lines on the tree on the right. That is a western hemlock. And on the tree on the left, that's covered in moss, that is a red alder. Here's an example of some more red alder. You can see they kind of got a white lichen that grows on the surface of the bark. So behind me here is our giant red cedar at Rauhala. It's the guardian of our forest. Good example of a tree that is infected with mistletoe. You can see those club-like branch structures coming off of it. So in behind me we've got an example of a CMT, or a culturally modified tree. You can see some bark stripping, and then there's a hole right there on this side of the tree. Now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to make a video on the other side of the tree to show you what they were doing. So in this western red cedar, you could see there's this huge hollowed out hole in this tree on the opposite side. The tree is still alive. What they did was they built a fire at the base of the tree and hollowed it out. Now the reason why they didn't use this tree was because the fire burnt a hole, as you've seen in the previous video, right through to the other side. Here you can see the hole that burnt through the tree. The tree is hollow on the inside, it's burnt hollow, but the tree is still alive. And this is a CMT, or a culturally modified tree. This is another example of a CMT, or a culturally modified tree. This is bark stripping, and this was done a very long time ago. This is on a red cedar, or a Thuga plicata, and you could see where the woodpeckers have been burrowing their holes to make dens inside the exposed wood of the tree. And the tree is still very much alive. This is an example of falling techniques in the early 1900s. You could see there's a notch cut out of this stump, and that is for a springboard. So they would stick a board in there, which would kind of bounce up and down in the air. That's why they call it a springboard, and they would stand on that, and one person would be on one side, one would be on the other, and they would saw down the tree.